horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Fencer in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello, and it's that time again. It's Sunday sermon time, and joining myself to chew the fat on this big Grand National week and Dubai World Cup, it's John and Chris. Good evening, chap.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Busy show, folks, and we thank you for all your questions. It's probably one of a record question week, to be honest. Well over a pony's worth, so we'll try and get them all asked. If we don't, please don't go Herbie on us in terms of time-wise, as we'd like to keep the show pretty brief. Going on to review, John, we'll go straight into the review of the last 3 days and a bit on the Dubai World Cup. Thursday, we started with the Manifesto in Perry Pass, beat Gidley Park. What was our main take from the racing that day? We'll come on to Constitution Hill, obviously.
Thursday, my main take on the Thursday was what a lucky bastard Fergie continues to be, really. Seriously, I thought Django Bay could have done with a stronger gallop. I think the King George is very much in the sights for next year for him. 3 mile round there should be absolutely ideal. He'd possibly be an early player for me in that.
So you think Django Bay is King George material?
Early King George player, yeah. Get him in your book.
There might be another one that we consider as a King George contender as well, with Fergie's maybe the other one. We'll come on to that. So coming on to the big talking point of the day, which was, of course, Lossiemouth winning the entry hurdle. Constitution Hill on the floor again. John, was it a case of Nico Stonehands doing it again? What are we making of this?
Well, I don't receive a lot of personal messages on Facebook, but I received a message from our friend at Scarborough, Mr. Bluck. Irate, actually. Question for Sunday sermon. After this week's performance, surely it's time for Nico Bay was dismissed and the yard employed a proper jockey who can judge and see what's happening around him. 3 weeks ago I wrote the above, now he's failed again. Getting Hill boxed in, terrible ride. I laid Hill, so no sour grapes this time. There's a bit of lucky for you. He needs to be replaced with John Joe Jr. Now, do you agree?
Well, do you?
No. I don't think you can do out about either of them falls, to be honest.
I think the owner wishing him that he'd get off the horse. I don't know if he dare say out to Nicky Henderson. I genuinely think the looks on their faces afterwards suggest to me I don't think they were very happy. But that were my take on it. But as for me observing rides, right, we all know that Nico de Bourneville is not Paul Townend, he's not a Jack Kennedy, he's not a Danny Gilligan. There are many jockeys in front of him in the national pecking order who you'd pick to have on your horse. That's a fact. For some reason, Nicky Henderson, who has got to be one of our greatest ever British national traders, the jockeys he's used in the past, and I know some will say Barry Geraghty, but he was essentially riding everything for JP. He was stable jockey as well, but apart from Barry Geraghty, Ned Curtis and Jerry McGrath and...
No, he had the Eck for a while, didn't he? Steve Smith Eccles.
He got a certain style though about him. I'm not
it
sure
was
how...
a certain style, like.
Good at shagging though, wasn't he? Steve Smith Eccles.
I don't know, I never shagged him, Chris.
Did you not? He was absolutely top class. He never felt a thing, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Neil Tolson's weighed in question saying that Nico's been poor at both festivals. The look on Buckley's partner's face, yes, I saw that. Said it all. I saw Constitutional for the first time in a while this week, and it has become a serious unit. He should be racing for more, in other words, appearing more, and I would have him chasing next season. Just shows protectionism doesn't necessarily work. I reckon he hasn't schooled well, Neil, because I remember they did that private school in Gallop, and they said, oh, right, we're going to school him over fences privately, and then we'll make a decision. And then they just said hurdle. And to be honest, at the speed he jumps, given that he seems prone to an error now, John, like when he's maybe on the wrong stride or he's too long or too short, when you're jumping at that pace, it might end up in disaster over fences.
Well, if he did that jump in a fence, I mean, I think you'd be thinking Hiroshima levels of damage, wouldn't you? He's probably going to headbutt the root to the fence, really. I don't think I'd like to see it. Well, I wouldn't even want to watch it, I don't think.
Let's get this right. He is normally a tremendous jumper, but I think, and I agree with our very own Catherine Fryer, if they are to continue with the horse, she'd up him in trip to probably 3 mile.
Yeah.
Slower pace. You don't have to be as precision. He's got an engine. He'd have no problem staying 3 mile for me. He's been a bit of a freak, big engine. But I think 3 miles fine. That's where I'd probably go with it. But I think if they carry on this minimum trip or the 2.5 round Aintree, things like that, everyone was so pleased he'd have got up. Because what happens if he didn't get up? Imagine that. That would have been national news. Britain's greatest hurdler. That would have been the end of the sport for me. Honestly. Such an high profile horse such as that. I think that's a tough one to come back from.
Well, it's happening at Liverpool as well, even though obviously it's not the little tiny national fences, it's them big bastard hurdles. I think that would have been a factor.
Yeah.
So there's no getting away from it. You say Liverpool in the fixture list, and it was blood runs called because of all the heavy retention.
Yeah, we'll come on to the Nash on Sat Broadway boy incident. Just finishing off Thursday for now. Sans Brute on the mile-make course from the Red Rum for the second year in a row, off a very well handicapped 130. Pumpkin had a decent week. His horses, to be fair, look really well. Quite pleased for him, really.
He's got a cracking pair of aviators, hasn't he? I think it looked like Tom Cruise.
In the case of Sans Brute, obviously, it's a plan well executed. I just love trainer speak, though, after the race. Well, he ran well on his reappearance, and we've not had him right all winter. I love that. We've not had him right. Well, you're not off, mate.
Yeah.
You haven't been off since Exeter.
Yeah, we've had him wrong deliberately.
Yeah, when he started the season on 139 and ends up 130, same mark as last year. Absolute job well done. Fair play. Play the game. That's it. That's what the game is. So hopefully some of you might have spotted that with Sans Brute.
You'd have thought in a new role as Bloodstock Sauce, the indefensible, Megs would have been all over Liverpool this week, wouldn't you?
Well, she got the invite from Dubai, John. That was it. Where would you rather be? With Scallies or loading it up?
I'm a man of the people, as you know, Lee, so obviously I'd prefer to be at Liverpool.
Oh, yeah. You don't like flying anyway. You're not.
I have the common touch.
Yeah, that's why he's in court next week for that, for the common touch.
Indeed. Friday, we come on to the opener where Calwell Potter was expertly selected by the Bar Stewards Edge team, 5-1 to land the contest, backed into 11-4. No flies on us. The only bet at Aintree this week, which duly obliged. And John,
we finally caught on to the fact you can't bait him, so just tip him.
Yeah. Good old lucky Fergie.
Manage of that fence took out about 4 of them, didn't it?
Yeah.
Any chance he had, I mean. I'm starting to wish he had 30 runners a day.
I tell you, he might not be King George class, but what I would say is he's one of them horses I like to watch. In jumps racing terms, it's like the old Desi, attack the fences, go from the front.
I think you can hang your hat on him. He's got a lot of bottle.
He's the Johnny Murter of the Mildmay fences.
He knows this game.
Absolutely. With it being the Mildmay course, like you say, that is one of the most hardest jumping tests in the country. A, because they go at pace, and B, because they're probably less forgiving than a lot of tracks.
Well, he didn't put a foot wrong, did he?
No, he was very good. Come on to the main race of the day. At 3:30 is the Mellon Chase. John Bon, of course, most impressive winner, but I think he'd had enough like in the last sort of 50 yards or so, but he'd entitled to do so.
Enough, isn't it?
To be fair, I thought Nico, again, he comes in for some stick. I thought he was perfect on this horse. He let Matata and Protectorat go at it, and he sat off them lovely, got him in a rhythm. I think, when you pour it on someone where you think, well, he wasn't good on Constitution Hill now, maybe it's the pressure as well. It's definitely a pressure horse for him because all eyes are on him all the time on this one. Hurdle. I reckon sometimes they must feel it, some kind of pressure, but I'm not defending him because I think he's crap as a rule of thumb, but well, crap's a bit strong, but John Bon, what an horse to own. I mean,
not totally shit, is he?
Yeah, Nico's not totally.
He's like us, basically.
Yeah, I'd say about on a par with us is Nico. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. 18 from 22 now, John Bon, which over in the National Hunt game, I think is astonishing. The horse has never failed to complete and has never been out the first 2. Astonishing, isn't it?
Terrific record.
Lovely horse to own for JP. I'm not being funny to JP, he does put a lot into the game, but I wish it had been probably a more smaller owner or something. Is he a man of the people, John?
People he likes.
If the people are all billionaires, then he is a man of the people.
Right, Saturday then, the Nash Day. This is where course, we have the race that has completely changed. And rather strangely, John, before we come on to reviewing National Day, in fact, looking at the races, we'll just concentrate on the National, really. There was a lot of ITV footage on Crisp and Red Rome and past winners. And I don't understand it because the two...
It just serves to piss people off, doesn't it?
There's two different races, aren't they?
Yeah, I say it just gets people's hackles up because they're saying, "Oh, now look at this," and now look at this.
In flat terms, it's like moving Derby back to a mile at Epsom, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then playing all the past great Derby with.
Yeah. I'm coming to a conclusion about this race now as well. I honestly don't think you can afford anything to go wrong if you're going to win it.
No, it's got worse.
I think the slightest thing going wrong and you're fucked.
Well, that's why I said about Constitution Hill. If that had been a disaster, that makes national television just the same. Nowadays, it seems that like the BBC couldn't wait to even run a headline on Broadway Boy as if it had already died.
Maybe they say he's been gagging for that since they lost the National, haven't they?
Well, not lost the National, they jettisoned it. They didn't want it.
Since Claire Baldwin ruined everything.
You make a very good point because there were no fatalities in it last year. Currently, there's none in it this year. Broadway Boy has been videoed today.
What's the cut-off point when you say the National hasn't caused any deaths?
Well, that's it. If one sort of like...
Wouldn't want one to pop up in a fortnight, and they say, "Oh, well, if it hadn't run there."
But the Antis couldn't wait. But I used to remember spending half my time defending the National to Antis and stuff like that. But it's one of them, it's got worse, and it's certainly got more strict in terms of, like you said, the focus is so much on every horse must come back safe, every single horse. And we've had some questions on the National, so we'll give some listeners airtime now. So Steve B's been first on, and he said about what did you think to ITV Racing's post-race handling of Broadway Boy's fall? And by the way, I tip my hat to Patrick Mullen for dismounting the horse at the end of the race so it could cool down properly, i.e. Nick Rocket. So, John, what was the post-race handling of it, in your opinion? Did you see the post-race stuff?
Yeah, I thought they did as well as they could, really. It's an awkward topic, isn't it? And especially when no news is forthcoming and the vets are working. What indeed do you say? You can't say everything's all right, he's in good hands, because you don't know what's going to happen next. So, whatever you want to say, you probably can't. You just hope in favourably that nothing actually happens to the horse, which again makes me wonder why is the whole fucking pantomime worth it.
I get people that's commented on this topic and said that you have to represent the sport fairly. If we're talking about welfare, then it has to be presented in a fair way. You do have to acknowledge it's national hunt racing and flat racing. It's the same thing. They break legs on the flat, the same. There will be fatalities of horses doing their job, which is what they are bred to do. We know this. We accept this, but obviously you're never going to appease people that don't. So in a way, I get people's anger. The thing is, I agree with not showing the fall. I agree with that. I don't like to see it. It upsets me. But the acknowledgement...
It's not a system we farm study, is it?
Not really. It's one of them. National racing, for me, I enjoy looking at. It's not something that brings the corn in, so to speak, brings the acorns for the winter. So it's one of them that I'm commenting as a flat guy, really. But I do get people that get upset at not proper coverage, just stating that, yes, this horse didn't look in a good way, probably, and this, that, the other. But like you said, at the end of the day, the horse is walking. He's walked onto a box. Willie Twiston-Davies posted the video this morning.
I don't think they could have done any better, I really don't. Not short of making stuff up, They weren't in a position to deliver any better news. They weren't in a position to administer any better news. So, I don't know what else they could have done, really.
Put it this way, if Broadway Boy had been confirmed as a fatality, I think they would have said Broadway Boy, sadly, as...
I'm sure they would, yeah.
But anyway, Fafa Jane's been on. Jane Foy, love your questions, Jane. Nice to see so many new people to the sport taking an interest in welfare. Or could it be the virtual signalling once a year for clicks? Also, the number of apparent racing fans who feed the anti-narrative engagement farming. Yeah, this is the one. The antis, of course, don't turn up at Newton Abbott when they have their fatalities.
They don't go anywhere near Appleby Horse Fair either. I wonder where that is.
Fine. Or driving past any one of a number of fields in the UK where horses are neglected every day of the week.
Indeed.
You know, just drive anywhere. Drive within 5 miles of anyone's home, and you'll see horses left out in fields. Where do you want to target your indignation?
That's the point. They're waiting for that sad occurrence to obviously express their rage.
Animal Aid will have been gutted that house got up.
Yeah, because if they get funding from somewhere, then for whatever projects they do, then it obviously helps them if there's statistics to help them say, yes, this is a tough sport and it's cruel on horses. I don't see it that way.
From that horse falling, Lee, they'll have got together a wonderful collection of step-by-step photos of that fall, and they'll have the headline ready, "You bet they die, this horse left the National in a bag."
Yeah.
And they haven't managed it, have they? And fuck them.
Right, Hedge has been on. He says, does the Grand National serve no one? Drastic changes to make it safer in the current times has not put a stop to animal groups being upset at the race and equally upset racing purists as the spectacle has now gone. Should we just call it a day?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's run its course, isn't it? I think it doesn't generate the buzz it used to. It's been so modified such that it's just like any other long distance chase now. I think it's done with it.
The only potential is for problems.
Yeah, I think it's finished. It should be finished, I think.
I don't like
Well, you're not meant to.
We started this show and we were like saying, no, like, fuck the animal activists.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying.
Now does, though.
I don't know where... It's an hard one for me.
They've pandered to them and painted themselves into a corner.
Yeah, but the point is, I think it's finished with it because the race no longer bears any relation to what the Grand National was. So it's an entirely different product now. And that product, I think, serves no one. And I think the point we made many, many, many months ago was that, you know, it's the thin end of the wedge. You know, the direction of travel is to modify the race increasingly year on year, such that it no longer resembles the Grand National as you and I know it. So for that reason, I don't think it serves any purpose. If you're asking, you know, should the Grand National as we know it be done away with? Absolutely not. But that doesn't exist anymore. What we see now is a different horse race, and I just don't think it. You know, it's not something I think that interests, you know, lots of punters, or certainly not in the way that the old race.
The situation now that the BHA and the situation now that the BHA and the welfare groups have got themselves into means that if a horse goes home from the National with so much as a broken tooth, Ian Green of Animal Aid is going to be doing a fucking war dance before the news goes out. And we don't need it.
Yeah, it's like what we said about the whip debate, though, didn't we? We said once they bring numbers in, the numbers will only drop.
Yes. Put a number, you start to modify the thing.
Well, these idiots won't listen to us. It's awful, but everything we predicted has been correct.
I'm afraid so.
If only we could get odds on it. That's the thing. We've been making bundles, haven't we?
Coming on to the subject of Willie Mullins in the race, obviously people have been saying good and bad and this and the other, and obviously there was talk before the National about restricting trainers, runners, things like that. That's unworkable for me, in my opinion. Is it becoming a bore fest, John, with Willie Mullins just dominating this race?
No, I couldn't find the winner, and I think there's plenty of others couldn't. He's a superb trainer. He's head and shoulders above everyone else at the moment. Why shouldn't he dominate? I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Why couldn't you find the winner, just out of interest? He won the Thyestes at Gowran, followed up beating Tense Raffles at Fairyhouse. Did you think he just had too much weight?
I'm just shit at jumps, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I know. I'm just saying. The market in the end agreed with you because he went off a 33-1.
To be honest with you, I thought the ground would be a bit too lively for it.
Yeah, it was certainly on the lively side.
And I thought that might find it out. And that's what led me to put a line through that.
So play devil's advocate with you here. You get pissed off at Aidan running 6 in a derby.
I wouldn't say get pissed off. I point out the fact that he's got it by the bullet. We know they're running before the derby, as we do with Willie Mullins in the National. So if you can work tactics out, you can give yourself a chance. Certainly in the derby with Aidan with 6 in. If you think they're going to go too fast, you can lump on the toe sweepers, can't you? Or even lay the poor bastard that's got one runner, and he's not going to know whether to stick or twist from the top of Tatnam Hill. There's still betting opportunities, irrespective of how many runners a said trainer has.
Does it disappoint you that so many people send them to one trainer to train?
Well, not really, because I think if that's where they want to go, I'm a great believer in freedom of choice.
Absolutely.
You know, I think if other trainers want these horses sending to them, they've just got to up the game and, you know, do a bit more glad handing, get the faces out there and, you know, maybe become a little bit more likeable, even Dan Skelton.
I couldn't believe Martin Dixon actually said on Racing TV that he wants Dan Skelton to win the trainer's power, whatever. Yeah.
Trophy, whatever. Yeah.
Tagging for Willie Mullins to overhaul him.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's saying it's a bar fest and everything. I would love it if Mullins wiped the smirk off his face.
Again, just playing other side of the counter here, right? So are we thinking this is good for our British trainers, that Mullins is going to come over with an army to Ayr, Perth, Sandown, etc. this spring to take the livelihoods off your Lucinders and your...
These things are cyclical, though, aren't they? You know, I mean, you go back to the mid-70s. Angel Penner, Maurice Silver, people like that were coming over. You had the French horses juiced up to hell. They were winning everything in group racing over here. Our horses looked second tier, and it changed. It changed because we had tip-top trainers coming through, like your Cecils, your Stouts, your Gosdens. None of them were on the same in the early 70s, were they?
Don't you think the juicing, though, was like more prevalent from the French back in the day? And pretty recently, obviously, they got rumbled, didn't they?
It may have been more prevalent, but they didn't catch many of the fuckers.
It were a good system, that, back in the French run of shipping over for a group race. Definitely a good system.
I mean, whatever the hell they were giving them. I mean, poor niece made it all in a King George, for fuck's sake. She looked like an ironing board.
Ironing board with legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The race itself, coming onto it, not good for me because I was Mr. Obvious. I backed Iron Maximus and Iroko. No dice there. Iroko just didn't jump very well at all throughout it. And probably if he'd have jumped, he'd have won, I think. I counted about 4 or 5 mistakes from him all the way around.
I think the third would have won if it had jumped the last.
It's true.
The Kiwi Park horse made one of them mistakes at the last where the jockey can go right up in the air and land the other side of the horse.
Yeah.
And that was his only mistake. And I think he'd have mainly won but for that. Which again comes back to my point. I honestly think you cannot afford a single mistake in the modern day national.
No.
I think everything has to go absolutely bang on for you.
But is that because the races usually run at a pretty decent pace, right? And because the fences are smaller, it's not a jumping test anymore, or specifically because I didn't know, for example, that there was like 17 inches of spruce at the top of the fence. The fence itself, for the first time, I've actually looked at the fence. And then when they knock the spruce off, you can see how small the actual fence is. It's not even a normal size chase fence.
You're in hurdle territory, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sorry to say it's a 4 mile, 2.5 hurdle race now because the spruce itself shouldn't make a horse fall because obviously it's just...
The spruce is loose.
A boot this hoose, but boots Randolph.
Yeah. Why did I have any of your Bruce Forsyth there and Dolly's do your dealing?
I've no idea.
Yeah, good game, good game.
You have my laugh, yeah.
I'm a laugh. Yeah. Have you noticed when he said that, he always used sang onto their arms, didn't he?
He did.
Nice fit bird, you know, the contestant. And he'd
like
hang on
times.
Yeah. Go on, Bruce. Hang on to her arm. Put your arm round her waist. She's won.
He did get with a few of them, though, didn't he, old Bruce? He had fucking nailed loads of women, didn't he?
Yeah.
Christ, he had an eye for him, did Bruce?
Didn't he do 3 Miss Worlds or something?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Fucking good luck to him.
Yeah. A little bastard like that with a chin like his.
Like Jimmy Hill was a similar.
Yeah, but he didn't do 3 Miss Worlds, did he?
Well, no, but I think he made up for it in quantity rather than quality by all accounts. So, yeah, apparently so.
There we go. Right, sort of national covered in terms of the race. Anyway, coming into other topic on the week, really. Paddy Power SP's on the race. We've had quite a few DMs on this of anger and rage backing the winner at 12s. And it's like SP'd at 33s and no bog. And we've even had a question on it. Jay Rossbet's been on. Surely instead of Paddy Power throwing money at the jockeys, they'd be better advised to pay the bog to customers who ended up with 12 to 1 about the national winner. From a PR point of view, if nothing else. I think that's a very fair point. But long gone are the days, it seems now, where this giant behemoth corporations want to do anything at all for genuine punters. What do we think? I mean,
Agree with that. Yeah, they've no interest in rank and file punters anymore. That's quite clear. None at all. We know what they want. They love the slots. They want you all on the slots and the roulette. That's their game.
It is. Coming on to the next topic, ITV. This is the last on the national stuff. ITV's coverage. Hugh Brampton Files has been on, and he says like the dumbing down of racing in terms of ITV coverage. And we've said this as a podcast. We've said that it is dumbing down. However, I just thought I'd reveal what I did this week, and I decided to watch ITV racing, not constantly but sporadically, as a non-racing like purist, if you like, or professional. I thought I'm just going to watch this as if it's a TV show. And that's it, right? Because I just released the shackles on criticising what you're saying that for, and this. I actually enjoyed it. I could not.
Changed.
I know. I knew I'd get this. I knew you'd give me hell shit for this, and probably rightfully so. And there'll be people out there now like cringing at what I'm saying.
Yeah, but go on, explain.
Right. I think throughout they're not selling it to me and you and John and other racing fans. There are racing products out there, like such as Racing TV. If you just want a bit more serious input, if you want to watch Davros in studio and then a bit of stuff on course, fantastic. But ITV, I just felt had got it right in terms of what they do. Like, I thought it was a high quality production, right? And I'm talking production. I'm not saying I like it from a racing knowledge point of view, because they're not going to teach me anything. I'm not going to learn anything. But I'm just saying that if they're growing their numbers and racing's numbers, it is dumbed down TV. It is, absolutely, 100%. It's not as bad as I think people are making out it is. What I would say is, to sum it up, it was high quality output. It was very professional, orchestrated for an audience that's basically tuning in for it. I think it's all right to criticise and said you could have done this, done that, you could have said this differently, you could have done this. Having watched it from a non-professional stance, I dumbed myself down for the day. I thought it was all right. I ain't got a problem with it.
You could say that about Jeremy Kyle, though, couldn't you? That was targeted towards a particular demographic. It was hugely successful. I mean, yes. Look, it is a slick production. Chamberlain is a very, very good presenter. But I mean, come on, I'm sick of watching dumbed down TV. I don't want to see reality stars and former Olympic field hockey players presenting it. I mean, field hockey. Who fucking plays hockey? It's like saying you're a champion real tennis player. I mean, it's just nonsense. I don't want to watch it. It's boring and it's shit. That's my view.
Well, he will like you. He'll hate me after this. So, John, what's your take on it?
I feel with what they had to sell, because I think the Nationals are difficult to sell now. Not like the old days where you could stand Terry Biddle come in the brook at Beaches and everybody's thinking, fucking hell, it's 5 foot above his head. You'd stand him in the brook now and he's towering over the fence. Well, not Terry because he's dead, obviously, but somebody.
Well, yeah, he's laying down now, so it'd be much bigger, wouldn't it?
I think what they have to work with, I think they made a good show this for 3 days.
What?
I don't think it's doing the sport any harm whatsoever. And there's plenty of hardcore racing out there for those that want the proper stuff.
There is.
They've got to you both. They have you. Ed's been on, honestly. They have you. Fucking you turned. It's just me now. I'm the tip of the spear now. Just me. I don't know. I find the whole dumbing down, I just find it so depressing. I get it. I do get it. And I know that their metric of success is viewer numbers, right? That's what they're judged by. And clearly they're growing that base, which means they are successful by by those targets by which they are measured. But I'm sick to death of just more on telly. And that's what I think a lot of it is.
Man, I did have a listener say to me last week that Adele Mulren should employ a minder, as they strongly suspected Leigh and myself has the duct tape ready in the glove compartment.
Oh my God!
Now I don't know what that might infer, but You know,
BTK seems to me.
that was
Dennis Rader.
mentioned early last week. You know,
well, I'm happily married, but by the way, I wouldn't like to take that.
I like the way you're washing your hands of me there, Lee. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my reason. Right. I wouldn't take that task on her. Is she like a karate expert?
Yes, she is.
She'll kick the fuck out of me and you, John. Fucking hell.
I'm straight chucked under the bus anyway.
Dubai World Cup. I was surprised to see the lack of coverage in the UK on the Dubai World Cup. I thought it was very underwhelming for such a monstrous event, really, a monstrous card, where you've got Callum Dagan getting beat off a slow pace. You've got a big 125s perk on the machine winning the Dubai World Cup. The Tory riding a winner. Am I right? No one apart from Racing TV covered it.
I don't think anyone else did, no.
No. They were covering the new Dubai Porta Potty Championships. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Go on. You can go, yeah.
That's the big sport over there. Well, there seems to be a trend for wealthy gentlemen who reside in Dubai to pay for the trips of attractive influencer girls on the understanding that they can use them as lavatories for their own personal sexual gratification. And that's the thing. It's called Dubai Porta Potties. Don't Google it because you'll be in a lot of trouble. But that's the thing now. Yeah. Honestly, This is where humanity's gone now. This is we're at the bottom. We're at the nadir of the human race, that people are using other people's toilets. There you go. So maybe they'll come.
So instead of pissing it up against the wall, you can piss it up against the wall.
And worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cleveland steamer.
Precisely. So maybe that's what that had greater coverage. Who knows?
Did any of you watch the coverage at Maidan? No. Well, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I watched bits and bobs. I was interested in the stairs race, obviously, and the Calandigan race. Spotted a few gravy trainers out there, and Meg's looking for national hunt prospects.
Yeah.
Was it Ollie Bell out there as well?
I don't know, was he?
Well, he was over here for national.
Oh, was he? So Ollie Bell, maybe.
I think Rishi was over there.
I saw Rishi. Right, that's the Dubai World Cup review done, I think. Callum Dagan, B. It's amazing what an horse Callum Dagan is. I think he's going to be probably the best 4-year-old in training this year. I really do. He's had some real shit luck, hasn't he? Second to City of Troy, you're unlucky. Second to Ascot, mugged.
When do you think we'll start employing a pacemaker?
I think if Shaka Khan had still been here, I think he might have thought about that for that race. Whoever's in charge now might not have the racing expertise to think about that.
Margaret Khan Studs was always one of the first on the front foot regarding pacemaker.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think this will be a long job. I don't think we'll have to wait long.
But Callum Dagan, I hope they bring over to the UK this season. If I own Callum Dagan, John, that is going to the Prince of Wales and then straight to York.
Yes, that should be ideal. Yeah.
And then it don't matter after that, really, because after York's done, me and John's done after that.
We're all secret now, then, aren't we?
Pete Turf did mention about machine guns, so with police presence outside the track. Do you reckon that's for terrorism stuff? Do you reckon Aintree might be prime for terrorists?
No, to keep the punters inside. So boring. That's why, honestly.
Right. Okay. John, get slightly serious before we get funny again. Jim Mullen is the new CEO, formerly Entain at the Jockey Club, announced just before April the 1st. Thank fuck, according to you.
Well, yes, because otherwise you'd have got a bit thinking, is this real? Could they be this stupid? Of course they could.
Goldfinger's made a point here that he's seen an article saying he was CEO of Reach and their staff were jumping for joy at him leaving, John.
I would ask this question, really. How many times does racing need to piss on the electric fence to realise it's not good for the long-term health of its cock? This started with Nick Rust leading the sport down the garden path. It was already enthralled to Big Corp. We get the gross profits deal, which should never have been given house room in a responsible sport that wants any sort of probity. And now, 10 years into reaping the disaster that was sown, And let's face it, since that came in, it's been a downward graph for racing. Hackers, slots, casinos, other high-margin, low-brain forms of betting, all at racing's cost, while the bookies say, come along with us, gross profit tax, gross profit tax. You can't go wrong, you can't go... Bollocks. And now we've got the appointment of this fucking goal. I mean, this fella's a beaut, make no mistake, right? He brought about single manning in shops. You know, the change that got that last murdered, the one racing's completely forgotten about, but a family's still coming to terms with it. Countless other people attacked in the workplace, all in the name of profitability and ensuring big corp gets its money's worth out of every single worker. One of the things he said when he came in, while the Jockey Club will be known to many as one of the most prestigious and established organisations in British sport, it's also a forward-thinking and exciting business with its focus firmly on the future.
It's revolting.
Seriously?
Revolting. Absolutely revolting.
Seriously, focus firmly on the future. He's having a bubble.
Yeah.
Mullen added, publishing and horse racing might appear to be two very different industries on the surface. That's because they are two very different industries. However, they share a focus on providing value and quality for the customer. Value and quality. The cost of racing is going through the roof. Nobody's getting any value. Quality's taking a nosedive. Where the fuck's he getting these ideas from? He's saying this stuff with a straight face, for God's sake.
But John,
and his time at Reach...
John, you're right.
His time at Reach has just been marked by cost-cutting measures and clashes with staff over job losses and pay. He's here to handhold Dido Harding when the fucking fire sale starts.
Correct. And John, these people are professional bureaucrats, right? They hop from position to position, to quango, and you know, if he was appointed CEO of a mustard gas manufacturer, he'd say, oh, the mustard gas industry has had a bad rep over the years, but it's an exciting, vibrant space to get into. Whoever employs them is always a vibrant and exciting, provides them a vibrant, exciting challenge. These are morally repugnant. He is revolting, that individual. Totally revolting. And that single, the manning of betting shops, a single manning has cost lives. Real people have lost family members to cut costs, and it's disgusting.
Because you got out at the Betting and Gaming Council, lauding the appointment.
Equally revolting.
You know, another one, another creature of the night, basically. Betting and racing enjoy a truly symbiotic relationship. Well, if that was the case, we'd be looking to grow the betting, wouldn't we? We'd be looking to divert people away from no-brain betting like slots and things like that. But we can't, because we're handcuffed to all these bastards with the gross profit
dead-eyed
tax
bureaucrats, a lot of them. They're disgusting. And I mean that, disgusting.
There you go. Obviously, I'm always willing to give people time, but there you go. It's certainly scathing and maybe accurate attack in time. Who knows from John? You'll come back to the show maybe after a year and say, John and Chris were absolutely spot on. I've got to admit myself, I'm a bit worried. It's not exactly what I wanted to see, but there we go.
Where's the panel that make these appointments? You know, I mean, what do they do? Take them from nursery and rear them on a diet of crack and crunchy bars?
That sounds great. I'm up for that, mate. Fucking
Crack and crunchy.
If anyone wants to send me some crack and crunchies, I'll give you a test every week on. I'll give you a news review. I'll do each show on crack. How about that? Fucking ace, that'd be.
Right, more on John's topics this week. We might not get to all of it. Oh no, Turner's retired. So, of course, the announcement this week from Hayley herself saying that she's going to retire from race riding with immediate effect as she's up the old duff. She's expecting a bairn. There's actually a question on this from Chris Pull.
I'm laughing because I know what's coming next.
Quick request for Lee to price up the father of Turner's baby on Sunday's show. It's a good eat to price because there'd be plenty of runners. But
punters are sick of those off the one field contests, aren't they?
So I would say, Chris, it can't make a book on it because there's certainly plenty of contenders. But I would say initials of AB would make the fav.
Anybody.
Yes, exactly that. AB is fav. I would say if you want to subscribe to Patreon, do so now and join the fun on there.
It will tell you who it really is. Yeah.
There was a reason I said, "Oh no, she's retired," like,
Go on.
Yeah.
and that's because she was getting shoehorned into the ITV
Oh,
coverage
no.
for Ascot.
Oh,
No
bless.
doubt.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Surely
probably
not.
She's not a bad lass. Yeah, like Jesus.
No, no.
Punditry. It's just you're blaming her for Dave Simcock's tactic.
No, I'm blaming her for Pay McCoy, to be honest. I think really that's what I shouldn't be doing. You know, I mean, I think she's probably an improvement on him. So
just coming back to Aintree, of course, just forgot this important point. Camera work and starts this week. I want to know who this starter is, John, because he's trying to get them like they start in Japanese Grand Prix. You've got thoroughbreds that are basically wound up to fuck and trained for the big day with carrots in them. And you want them to trot in like fucking...
He's lining them up nearly 200 yards away from the tape. And then he's expecting them to walk in like they're pulling the Queen's funeral carriage.
All these horses now, they're going to become future dressage. They're capable of just just trotting in like this when they're wanting to race. I think it's an appalling. The BHA have done some good recently, but not on this.
Everybody on the telly said, "Oh, I wouldn't want to be a starter." I mean, why the fuck not? If that's a difficult job, I'll stand tapping.
Common sense, isn't it? I could stand on top of there and I could tell if they're sort of like 20 yards from tape and no one's running in, I'd just say, right, come on, there you go, tapes are on.
All you need is a reasonable command of the English language and a bit of self-confidence. You say, right, get back there 50 yards, line up, walk in. And the minute they turn and start walking, you'll wank the tapes up and that's
exactly that. Easy job. They're making it harder than it needs to be, I think, definitely. But the camera work, you weren't impressed with the camera work?
Appalling on Gaelic Warriors race. We completely missed Gaelic Warriors' winning run till he was upside.
Yeah.
Could scarcely credit it, but they go tighter and tighter at the finish, don't they, these days? You know, I mean, I don't really want to say the jockey's nasal hair. It's not a biggie for me. I think just a little step back would make such a difference.
Too zoomed in.
Award-winning camera work tends to be shit when it comes to how much use it is in racing. I mean, it's not like the old days when BBC covered Ascot with one camera and you were thinking, fucking hell, who's that in the distance? And, you know, I mean, when they're running along the skyline. But, all right, things have moved on, but you can take it too far. And that's what's happened there. They're just taking it to the extreme. And you're missing out on action and significant moves in races.
Yeah, the coverage ain't catered for me, but a little bit of in-running play is harder with the zoomed in because I can't get a feel. It's too close in, so it makes in-running quite a lot harder, I feel. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Mid-race, I mean, I'm not a late race player. That's the drone people, but like mid-race, I like to take a view, and I struggle sometimes when it's too zoomed in because I can't get a feel for the other runners. But that's just how I see it.
Well, that's it. There's an 18 runner field, and you're focused on JJ Slevin's ass.
JJ Slevin might have a fantastic arse. I don't know.
Yes, he might do, and you're doing him a great disservice. It might be fabulous.
Right, an interesting question here, just changing subject slightly, from Navalis. Having largely failed as a punter, I love honesty, because there's so many fucking boomers and twats on Twitter that say they make money and they don't. I have finally devised a lay system. Well, just lay your own bets, it sounds of it.
Yeah.
With double-digit returns over the past year, back-tested to over 1,000 bets. Betting against women jockeys, overweight jockeys, and foreign horses, i.e. non-GB and Irish-bred horses. As I cash in on my sexist, fat-shaming xenophobia, what variables have the bar stewards ever come up with in their tissues that seemed odd, but nevertheless brought in the dough?
I used to do this thing. I mean, obviously, I'm not a serious player over the sticks. If there was a feature race, like a long distance chase on bad ground, I used to bet the first one out the handicap that had a placing next to its name last time out.
Yeah.
And I got some ridiculous winners with that.
Yeah. If we're talking about sort of lane systems and stuff, I would say one that I think is a pretty good one. It's not really a system as such as in you can like search it from and back test it. What I would say is any horse that led last time out and went too fast and won, and he's out fairly quickly. That is gold dust because there's usually a bottoming of them. So I say fairly quickly. I say even including 2 weeks, if they've gone ridiculous, beat them off fractions and still managed to win, they're the ones that tend to really bounce the next time, and the market likes them because they've won that, did that well off a strong pace. It's done well to fight them off. And then turns out sort of 8 or 9 days later, obviously you're going to pay out from time to time when you find that tough bastard that keeps wanting it like Johnny Mercer. But it's one of them. I think it's profitable. But it's interesting, Navalis, with that question. You're thinking outside the box, mate, and full credit for you for doing that. Macadori's been on. He says, probably a silly question, but would you take into account the size of a horse in relation to the effect of the weight allocated, John?
Only if it's an exceptionally small horse.
Little Cavy's Clown. That did all right with big weights.
Yeah, it was only 13.6, wasn't it?
It's like a divorce pony. Cavy's Clown, what days they were. I would say, Rory, I'd have a small weighting with that in terms of taking it into account. But if you bear in mind, a decent-sized horse will weigh something like 400 to 450 kilos in that regime. So when you're talking about an extra £10 on its back, instead of carrying 11.4 to 12 stone, it might play a bit of a part. I ain't got any data on it, so I can't say, but logically you'd say negligible. Personally, that it's not something I look at anyway. I know it's a pundit thing, that, isn't it? Oh, nice big horse, so it'll carry this weight. Well, yeah, but usually it depends how fast it can run. Never mind whether it can carry it weight or not.
Well, I've never seen one collapse on Jockey yet, Sam.
Yeah, it's like when I used to go horse riding. I'm talking about my younger days, not now.
Oh, right.
Back in the day, I was 15 stone, and I went horse riding, and even at 15 stone, I could feel the horse think, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's still quite a lot, 15 stone, for a horse to be carting about, isn't it? It's quite a lot.
I felt sorry for it.
That's the sort of thing a multiple point-to-point winner would be looking down.
It is really.
Quadruple penalty.
Speaking of point-to-points, Joe Mason were at a point-to-point today, John. It's amazing, isn't it? Flat jockey, rides in point-to-point. Another Johnny Merton. Loves this game.
She loves this game.
Yeah, and then back to Sheriff Upton for a bath. Michael Verity's been on. He says, favourite must-have snacks for a day sat in front of the telly watching a big race festival.
Do you know what? I don't even watch the telly anymore. I just become so. I maybe a year ago I could have answered this. Now I don't. I watch it on fucking Betfair for free only when I've had a bet in the race. That's how bad I am now.
You seek the adrenaline, don't you? But so, Chris, what's your favourite snacks whilst watching race?
Well, I don't watch racing, Lee. I don't really go. I only watch it on Betfair screen.
Like, you pedant. So when you load your Betfair up and you're fucking hungry. Like fucking, you think, what are you eating while you're watching?
Nothing. I'll be pulling hard on a Marlborough. Then come on, you cunt. Fucking get it. Drop in front. Drop in front. Drop in front. Go on, fucking fall over. Yeah, that's me generally. So yeah.
John, must have snacks for a day sat in front of the telly on an afternoon. Remember when you used to go round to Hitler's? When you went round to Hitler's, what was the snack?
Yeah, toast and pate.
Yeah. We've always said
nice.
I always love a bit of pate, and also I love that. Is it mackerel or herring?
Chopped herring from Marks and Spencer's. Yeah.
Sort of roll mop type thing.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like
with the crostini.
I've watched the producer eat that, and honestly, it's vile. I have to turn away.
Turn away in disgust.
What's that?
Yeah, they're roll mops.
I like them.
I
love
like
roll mop herrings.
Nice. I can't watch that.
Delicious.
They are delicious.
She just stuck 2 fingers up to me, and this is
with all the vinegar running down her chin.
She demolishes them and all. She's hungry in that.
I like them. They're nice.
Roll mops.
I think I could do a dozen of them.
Cool, that's going, Sam.
Jesus. I've watched you with oysters, though. You can demolish them and all.
Fucking an oyster.
I could do over 100 oysters, I have no doubt about that.
Jesus, your guts must be made of iron.
So there you go, Michael Verity. You're getting a picture here of what we like, aren't you? We move on. Bert Doncaster's been on. How about an old man's lifestyle spin-off podcast?
What?
And how often do you shit yourself?
Never.
You can always rely on Bert for this kind of crap.
Yeah.
What the fucking hell does he mean, an old man's lifestyle?
I think he's just answered your question. I think the entire content suggests we need Saga sponsorship or Wallace Arnold coach tours or something
Wallace
like that.
Arnold.
I do. Yeah,
tremendous.
All those Viking cruises where you go up to Norway or see the fjords or something. They should come on and sponsor us because that's the demographic.
There's none of us even 60, is there?
Not at all. But it seems that way.
He's right,
Yeah.
though. We are all fucked. But anyway, any of you two shit yourself ever?
Never, ever.
Apart from
No,
babies.
never. Never done it. Nope.
No. John?
My
you shit
arsehole's
yourself?
like a gay man's
No.
dream, tight as anything. I swear to God.
I didn't even shit myself when I had E. coli.
Why am I only one to have shit myself?
I don't know. You need to ask yourself
You're
that.
just looking at you.
I've done it twice. Yeah, once a 10-year-old at a French campsite. We went out for a pizza that were a mile walk. And so we had the pizza, and I really felt this massive shit coming on. Yeah. And I actually tried to run back to the camp because that's where the next toilet was. And it was a mile away. So I'm running like fuck. And I made it to the cubicle.
Well done.
As soon as I hit the cubicles, out it came.
Too late. Done a nose. Beaten in a driving finish.
And that's the story of my life. That when I couldn't be a good one. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
The other one was Flushing Meadows, New York, tennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the most embarrassing thing I've ever happened to me.
Well,
it was in the women's final.
Yeah, talk about Flushing Meadows.
Something they couldn't flush that fucker away. That was the year it got cancelled.
Me and the producer are leaving the stadium. I said to her, I said, I'm fucking struggling here. She says, what do you mean? I said, I need a shit badly.
Romance isn't dead.
And we couldn't see a toilet. When you man up and you go, I fucking hold it for.
She's a lucky girl, isn't she?
Got onto their tube.
Yes,
back to Manhattan. Well, it weren't a full-on turd. It was just like a dribble.
No, it was just shrapnel.
The problem was, though, I'd got white shorts on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It was absolutely 100% visible.
My Christ on a bike.
Was this before or after you got married?
Before.
Right.
Good God.
He's all in his tennis whites as well, John. He just come off the court.
She thought to herself, if he can go through that and be in full view on the New York train service, walk back to the digs, crowded people, this man has skill.
It set you apart from the masses, doesn't it?
It's extraordinary. Yeah.
Thanks, Bert, you bastard. But Old Man's Lifestyle spin-off podcast, I mean, that could work, actually.
It could work.
We've actually thought about
another revenue stream that we can't monetize. That'd be
exactly. Yeah. Another hour a week that we can't fucking get.
Yeah, we fucking don't get paid for.
Get nothing for it. Pay us. Set up a crowdfund, you lot, and we'll do it.
Come on, we'll do it. Yeah, pull up some dough, a little bit of dough, and we'll do it.
Could do stuff like whittling and making hurdles and
Scrimshaw. Yeah,
you've got
John Hargreaves, isn't it?
You've got John's cooking. You've got Chris's worldly advice. He hates everyone anyway. What could go wrong? Crowdfunders.
Yeah, a few quid. Incentivise us.
We're not taking it off bookmakers. Come on, guys.
No.
We're on your side here. Right.
We want pay pigs. Pay us some money. Yeah.
Quest Journey finale. Is Sam the Cat's back? We like Sam the Cat. He says, do bar stewards have any tips for getting older? See, they all think we're about fucking 95.
They do. They must do. Geriatric.
Benefits of getting older. Do you take anything for burns, muscles? Do you have any tips to keep bowels fluent, acid reflux, or how to get a good night's sleep? Do ladies find you more attractive? And have you become more measured now, wiser? Let's dissect this then.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There are no benefits.
The end's in sight.
Yeah, there's no benefit. I hate it.
I'm one of them. I don't want to be in a care room. I'd rather somebody just shoot me. Like, in fact, John and his mate shot a pig once, and if it comes to that, like where I've got to, I'll tell John to.
Yeah, and he'll go to jail. He'll be thanks, Lee. Yeah, it'll be fucking.
No, said that's the one thing with that. So older, no positive. Do you take anything for burns and muscles? Any supplement? Nothing.
Nothing.
I'll tell you what I don't take. I don't take my prescribed statins because this is a bigger fucking racket than that. It's them bloody things. I have ached like hell since I was prescribed statins. The last week I've just taken myself off them and the aching is subsiding.
Okay.
There you go. It's all medicine good, folks. We don't know.
Pharma suggests
for me,
otherwise.
bones and muscles, no. I ain't got any, so that's it. I'm just like that flaccid. Remember Pearl off her Blade? She's lying on bed. You're like, Blade.
I do. Yes, exactly.
Thank Gurney. Do you have any tips to keep bowels fluent. Well, I don't need any. I've just
No.
explained it. I've explained
it's the vertical pipe from your mouth to your arsehole, isn't it? It just drops down.
I can shit, so to speak.
Yeah.
Definitely not for that. John, you?
Cod liver oil.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Good tip. Acid reflux. I'm on that omeprazole. I've been on it a while for acid reflux.
Right. Here's a great tip for anyone who runs out of stuff. Because there's nothing worse, is that you wake up with the massive acid reflux in the middle of the night. You go to the medicine cabinet and the fucking stuff's not there, whether it's Gaviscon or whatever. You reach for the toothpaste, you put a heaped teaspoon of toothpaste in your mouth and swallow it down slowly.
Is that okay? Is that okay to do?
It's absolutely A1.
What's the quantity though? Because I've heard you can die if you just swallow toothpaste.
Yeah, but that's a bit of an urban myth, though, isn't it? It's old girls ringing up the doctor and say, "Oh, I've swallowed toothpaste."
It's a heaped teaspoon that you take.
Just neck it,
and it will shift it for you in an emergency.
Brilliant, that'll do.
Not only is our head chef, he's now our head Dr. Schillery.
Yeah, struck off as well. It's good. Wandering hands.
Yeah. Chris, do you suffer acid reflux?
Occasionally, yeah, and I do recognise that. And sometimes in the middle of the night, you wake up and you think, "Oh Christ!" But yeah, you never have any Gaviscon or Rennie or whatever to hand, so it's awful. So I have to remember that.
Well, I'm on medication for that. My entire family suffers with it. It's just it's hereditary.
Horrible.
I had it when I was 18. It was that bad. It used to inflame my throat. So if you had, like, say, an hamburger, it couldn't go down my esophagus because it was like all inflamed. Oh. Yeah, it was that bad. I had to go to hospital for it and everything. How to get a good night's sleep?
Ugh. Have no conscience.
Well, fucking good asking me. Jesus.
Oh no, so your sleep's like so sporadic. How do you get a good night's sleep? I think you work hard. Mentally, I'm fucked. As in, I'll get to midnight these days, and I can't last any longer. Like back in my younger days, I could stay up, watch NFL, fucking get up at 9 a.m. fresh as a daisy. Now, it's midnight, and I'm not up till probably 7 at earliest, something like that.
Yeah,
I try and get 7 in. That's about it. I just work hard and play hard if you can. I would say for that.
Right, if I get 3.5 or 4 in, I've had a hell of a night.
Yeah, exactly. You'll still have your sleep, but sadly for you, it's not like the full on. You'll get your 3 or 4, and then you'll have another 3, say during the day or something.
Well, there we go.
Have a nap now and again. You shouldn't fight it either. I always say this. People that say, "Oh, if you're able to, and you're self-employed, obviously like we are, that if you're tired of day, sleep. Don't fight it to get sleep. It's important because you can't function without it. Sleep repairs your bodily sort of woes as well. So it's important to sleep. Don't ever fight sleep." The last one about ladies find you more attractive.
You're invisible, aren't you? When you reach a certain age, that's what you got to realise. You are completely invisible.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe that. And you're not bothered, but you are completely invisible.
Apart from personality, no one's going to find many elderly gentlemen like attractive. It's not at all. It's not possible.
It's been a complete mystery for me for the last 40 years how I ever managed to pull a woman.
You have had your fair share,
and yet I seem to, and I really don't know why.
I think it's one of them. I think sometimes there are certain people in life that it's quite infectious and you want to be around. And I think that's also a worker. It's not just necessarily on your 6-pack and how you look. That person's got to enjoy spending time with you. If they don't...
If they're not enjoying it and they keep screaming no...
No, John. No, I told you no.
Fucking no.
Dodgy legal ground, then, ain't you?
So come on, let's sum it up to finish the show. Have we become more measured and wiser, the 3 of us?
No. Well, wiser in the sense that people say, "Well, I've got no regrets." I have millions of regrets, millions. I really do, and I think a lot of people say they haven't. I think they're not always being truthful themselves. I don't think.
I have lots of them, same, Chris, but I think it's a really unwise thing to focus on because
yes, absolutely.
The problem is we haven't got a lens into everyone else's life for a comparison. You might know people and you might think, "Oh, well, they always seem to do all right. Why am I like that?" Oh, yeah. The point is, if they might have a lot of problems you can't see or they won't reveal.
Yeah.
Well, it's Schadenfreude and you're thinking, "Well, yeah, fuck you can't." I think we're all similar. I think we all make mistakes, a lot of us. I do look back sometimes. It's a mistake to look back. And sometimes, from all the good times, the producers put all the photos where we can view it on TV. So when times are a bit dark, put them photos up and think, good days and have a laugh. And that's what makes me more measured and wiser. Though I will say this, betting-wise, if I was the person back in the Betfair boom that I am now, in terms of discipline, I'm incredibly disciplined now. I wouldn't have done this podcast. I'd be in the Bahamas with a big.
Yeah.
I was Larry when Betfair was booming. I was a good judge, but I fucked up a lot and I did things I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Massive bet. I've been on another life, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I've only grown up since I was about 45, I think. A bit like Mooch Tips. No, you still haven't though, I think. So what for you two? Are you more measured, wiser, Chris? Chris, you're an intelligent fella that's a bit slightly, I don't know, modest.
No, not at all. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know really. I'm not that hugely introspective. All I know is that I think it is too tempting for people like myself to look back and think, "Oh, I wish I'd have done this," or "I wish I hadn't have done that." So I don't really think. Yeah, I'd have grown as a person probably, but not through any conscious effort on my behalf. I don't think.
Been friends ages, so I mean, long time now. So it's
for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. It's really difficult, isn't it? I don't know what tips you could share for, but I don't think. I mean, I think everybody's sort of 21 still in their head, aren't they? Really, that's the thing. And growing old is just it's just not good. You don't feel necessarily on it, particularly if you're in your 50s. I'm sure if you get older, you'll feel your age, but I don't at the minute really. Not sort of not in my head.
No, John.
I don't know really. I mean, you know me long enough. Would you say I'm more measured than when?
No.
No, exactly.
No, really.
You're an absolute comic.
I've done countless utterly stupid things in my life. I mean, I don't think I regret a single one of them because it's been absolutely tremendous fun. There we are, I mean, I've arrived where I am. I've got a terrific circle of friends that money couldn't buy. I'm happy with my status in life. I certainly have no regrets about anything. As I say, I've made balls up after balls up, but it all makes you what you are.
Yeah, who done? And there's one thing that can say everything about the bar stewards or this, that, and the other, but the one thing I think we've got as a podcast is integrity in terms of there's no selling out of stuff, and we speak for all punters. That's it, and it'll continue to do so in that way. So integrity is the only thing you can't get back. You can get money back, but integrity, I think, is key to everyone in life. And there's a lot of people in racing, sadly, that have got none of that. So we're all in a pie, and I hope you've loved this podcast like we have. It was fun to do. Grand National week all covered off. That's all from us. Bye for now.